Morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunny Coffee Talk in the scorching Okanagan. Isn't it great?
I'll take
yeah.
it.
You take it? You
Yeah.
take it? I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for October.
No.
You
You had your time. You had your time. The rest of our
wow.
turn.
That's if I could change anything. Like if I could be like just ultimate creator of everything for a day, I would make spring longer.
Yes, I
You know?
love spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love spring, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be content with whatever the day brings. And one of those things that brings us together to talk about life at Lakeview. And so thanks for spending a few minutes with us this morning. Looking back, we had a guest speaker. I love so much that he made that joke about talking for an hour and a half and then went on to talk for 50 minutes.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Actually not. I'll be 40 minutes shorter than you said, which is still double what a normal Jeff sermon is.
We didn't have to quite yet, wave flags from the back.
That's good.
It was pretty good.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It definitely took me back to the days where I would have, when Pam Morgan would be teaching our children, and afterwards, after I preached, would come up to me and was like, "Man, I only got through half my stuff today because it was you and not Lyndon." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah."
Or not to hit the nail on the head, but like when Lyndon was preaching, when Lyndon was leading, and we would have missionaries come in, and he would be checking his watch, and they would go way over time, and our kids minister would be like, "Could you just let us know more or less?"
I just want to say that the person teaching the children on Sunday knew full well who was going to
That's
be
true.
speaking and planned accordingly with twice the material one
Yeah.
would normally have. And it was a great morning, and I actually went, "That was it?" That's okay. We're not here to talk about time, although it's always on our mind. I do want to know, though, to start, gentlemen, what is something that you think you could talk all day about? As you think, here's why we're going there. Lyndon talked about the compassion of Jesus from the feeding miracles in Mark. And one of the things I think that happens when we pay attention to how Jesus shows compassion is it starts with him noticing. So if we're going to be people who notice, one of the things I noticed about the sermon, train of thought.
There you go.
One of the things I noticed about the sermon is several times Lyndon said, "I could talk all day about this, but I won't." And I do think that Jesus' compassion or Jesus' love, which is often evident through compassion, is one of those things that I wish I could talk all day about. But what are the things instead we find ourselves that we like, I could probably talk all day about that?
On a very superficial level. Sorry, I have to go there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's
I
where I
could
was
talk
hoping
about
we'd start
bikes.
with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I could talk about bikes, I'm
Yeah.
not as well versed in the mountain bike, but
Yeah.
I feel like I fix bikes all day for kids, for me, change everything, like do stuff like that. And the reason also that kind of hits me this morning as well too, is because this morning I wore a certain jersey on my bike
Yes.
here this morning,
Yes.
which was cyclingforwater.ca.
Yes.
which was the jersey that I gained when I supported Gain when I biked for
See what you did there?
some water. See, so it's all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's that kind of stuff. I feel like I could talk all day about that a little bit. And
Do you-
yeah,
Do you have an optimum gear ratio or something?
yeah. Actually, always stay in your big ring. That's what I would.
Always stay in the big ring. There you go. That's Kevin's cycling for life.
Yeah, it'll kill you on the hills, but it'll get you up faster.
Okay, stay in the big ring.
Wow.
Sounds like it could also be a transition to talk about Drama Camp, which has a circus theme.
They sure did. Yeah.
Always stay in the big ring. Okay, Jeff, anything you think you could talk all day about?
Oh, lots of stuff. I mean, on that vein, like sports and stuff. I love rock climbing. I could talk about that, and then the reason is because the people that I've been able to do it with, and the memories we have, and so then memories of family come up, and memories of trips, and just all those kind of things I could talk about all day, like on the
All day.
superficial level. Like, well, it's not sort of superficial, but it gets into relationship and whatever.
It can grow into it.
Yeah. So.
But I feel like I just talk about fixing bikes all day.
Oh yeah. 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 Definitely. Oh yeah. I could talk about a lot of things all day.
I was trying to think through what I actually could go the longest on talking about, and it's somewhere between the Vancouver Canucks' long history of poor trade decisions and mismanagement, which will mean we will never see the Cup in Vancouver, or it could be, there's some days I'm like, I could probably talk about coffee for a long time, and you know, roast levels and everything from like farm to cup to you know, the mismanagement of coffee at the Vancouver Canucks arena over history, or travel I think is another one. I think I could talk a long time, at least, you know, kind of fake my way through a lot of conversations about no, but like some of the different airports and stuff like that, and a lot of great travel experiences over the year. I could tell travel stories for a long time. But none of those ever are really the thing that usually matters the most. And I think they're important, and I think they're an aspect of life, and I don't think we ignore them. But there's some things that we can become really well versed on. And I guess, you know, transitioning back to thinking through what we were challenged with compassion. Sometimes, like one of the points he made is that compassion is costly. And sometimes the things that we would love just to focus all our attention on, actually part of that cost of compassion is those things that we could talk forever about, right? Like I think about travel. I might have to cut into my travel budget sometimes to be compassionate. I might have to cut into my coffee budget to actually show compassion to others. And so I guess getting back to that whole idea of vision and me being able to see the needs around us, to see the people who are right in front of us. What are some things that, you know, you were sort of ignorant to or unaware of that someone helped you become aware of, and now you see it? Is there anything for you guys like that? Because I go back to like so many of the times where Jesus showed compassion in the Gospels. It started with he saw the crowd and he felt compassion. He saw this and he was moved in action. So what are some things that, and let's not get stuck on just things we see with our eyes, things we hear, things we see, things we become aware of. What is something you think, you know, you become aware of?
In regards to compassion, or
just in general in life? Ideally, if it led you to compassion, that's great. But
well, I mean, what comes to mind when I stick with compassion, for me personally, we had a friend who was very, very generous, and he taught when my kids were younger. He had a significant influence on our family's life on generosity, which really challenged how I think about people that I see in need, because you kind of come up a lot of times in the church. I did, where you see someone begging for money and you don't look at them, you ignore them if you don't have anything to give, or you know. And I've been challenged by that, and now I see and I look for like even just watching my kids, like they do not pass somebody by without, hey, can I get you a sandwich or something, right? Like they will always, you know, where I'd be tempted to walk by, they've challenged me. So now I ever since, especially one time when one of my sons, you know, he wouldn't walk away. He went and bought a sandwich for somebody that was sleeping with a sign, and he put it with their stuff. And ever since, I can't walk past somebody without, you know, can I get you a sandwich? Can I get, you know, or something, having something to share. So that's what comes to my mind when I think of what can I no longer not see, and deals with compassion is that. So I know that's a little deeper than you might have been.
No, I think it's perfect. I think that's a great illustration. Kevin, do you have anything that comes to mind, or do you need another minute?
Maybe a little bit more like just seeing people in their brokenness. I think the amount of times where even before we became, you know, pastors, and you know, we're really connected into people's lives, seeing life and seeing situations, and you know, going to funerals and seeing, but then you go through some of those experiences and see the need where there is a real brokenness that's happening behind these person's eyes that that not everybody knows.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see that a little bit more now as I've walked with people through some of those deep water experiences and tragedies, or even just people who are kind of going about their day, and you ask them a simple question and then their eyes kind of well up, right? And I think normally before, in my earlier years, I would have just either kept going or whatever. I think, yeah, there's things that I feel like God has revealed to me in that.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I see that in you too. See you seeing people. Yeah, it's good. Sorry.
So no, it's good. I don't want to rush past anything prematurely. I think for me, as I thought through the creation of this question and the bringing it forward, is I think a lot of the ministries we have at Lakeview, some of the ones I'm most passionate about, because someone in the church helped me see this as a need, and we started addressing it. So I think about, why do we do backpacks? By the way, please donate a backpack.
Yeah.
Why? Because someone in our church saw kids carrying their stuff to school in a grocery bag, a plastic, fallen apart grocery bag, and said, we should do something about that.
Yeah.
And others went, you're absolutely right, we should do something about that. So we started, collecting backpacks to distribute through the food bank. And now it's like, every time I'm walking my kids to school, or driving and dropping them off nearby, I can't help but notice the backpacks that kids have. And I'm kind of going, just like, what would be a good backpack? What makes it? And it does sort of focus me a little bit in that, thinking through what kind of provision we want to offer for kids. When someone came by, someone was part of our church and said, hey, did you know there's a lot of homeless teenagers in our town? And we started going, that shouldn't be. What can we do about that? And it was like, well, that's the Boys and Girls Club of the Okanagan is going to have a drop-in center, and they're looking for people to make meals. So we started making meals for them, because at our heart was stirred. We started to see that there are homeless teenagers and who need good food. We can't provide homes, but we could provide food. Let's do something about that. And these sorts of things start to help us, help me at least, see some of the needs of the community that are it's a lot more convenient to look away from. It's really convenient to just sort of say, no, that couldn't happen in our town. I don't want to be a part of it, and just look away and go about life. But he talked about the compassion is personal, and it's costly, and it's hard work, and kind of mixed in there is even sometimes the inconvenience of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it stirs something that kind of challenges our comfiness of life. And that always seems to start first by being aware and being.
Could I just say on the backpack and on the meal as well too, like even as you said it, not that we think that, but in some ways we almost say like, oh, grocery bag, that's the worst. Well, I actually bring a grocery bag for my lunch to church half the time. It's not about the backpack. The backpack is a tool. It's not about the meal. The meal is a tool. The whole point behind that backpack is to say, you are seen. You are not forgotten. Because if we did nothing and it continued on, that would feel like a tragedy. Here's an opportunity. Here's a backpack as an example, a backpack that you could use. But the point is, you are loved and cared for, and can you just, as you put on that backpack, can you just remember that, so that you might be fine with your grocery bag. However, the backpack is the reminder. It's a physical reminder, or the meal is the physical reminder that you are not forgotten about, right? And those are all just tools that I believe God has put in our lap to be able to say that same thing, like you said, like that compassion of seeing people where they're at, and that actually does take work. Right.
It does.
And knowing, and I think compassion isn't solving all the problems all the time.
You're right.
Like I'm so amazed when we do the Gifts of Hope at the end of December, or middle of December, when we're helping families that have gifts for their kids. They come in for prayer. They have all these things. I'm like, I can't do anything, but I'm offering prayer, and that's what they want, and they just want connection. They want you to listen. They want you to see. And so, like, when we don't need to ignore the problems, we need to say, what can I do? Right? I can smile. I can notice. I can pray. I can,
Yeah,
and I can do backpacks. I can do food. Yeah. So
right.
yeah,
Not
really
one
awesome.
of us can do it all.
Yeah.
But God's equipped us to do something, and so we take that equipping and we put it to work. And then I do think it's prudent to ask, could I do it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And if the answer, and if we see that, oh, actually I can, then we should.
Yeah.
But I do think it requires that question of, could I do more? And I think that's what Jesus was leading his disciples to. I love that point about how there was an absolutely insignificant number of disciples to feed that enormous crowd.
Exactly.
And I hadn't really thought of that before.
Yeah.
Like,
How
I
many
can't
that
imagine
is,
how hard it would be just to feed 1,000 people myself.
Yeah.
Try and, like, when we've done banquets at the church and we've tried to, like a drama camp, we'll have a seated dinner at the end of drama camp, and I usually have, like, one person for one table, and they're already feeling a little overwhelmed. And it's like, imagine if you went from feeding 10 people, let's now put that 10-fold, right, and 100-fold. And it's like, that's going to be, amazing. That must take a long time.
Well, and some extreme amount of organization, like to even just communicate, okay, are we passing to the left, or are we like, okay, send up a representative for your 100 people, or like immediately the organization gear kind of kicks in, and that in of itself is the miracle beyond that as well too, to say, wow, God, what are you doing? Because this is overwhelming.
Yeah, you tend to think Jesus gave the disciples and they went and all they did is gave it to the people, but really he gave them a lot of authority and a lot of choice to know how to do that.
And if we're struggling with this, here's maybe a modern contextualization that's coming to me. How many people do you think are at a West Kelowna Warriors game when it's a packed house?
Yeah.
Right? Now let's have only 2 beer taps.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
People are going to go in, there's going to be a riot.
Yeah.
We're not suggesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think, just to, move on, but to wrap this up is, if we're trying to figure out how do we apply this conversation about compassion, as I think it would be to start with a prayer. God, show me the people or the situations where I should be stepping in and showing compassion.
Or even just noticing.
And just noticing,
first,
right? Like, God, what do you want me today to notice? Or who do you want me to notice? And see what he brings to mind and see where he leads you. And then figure out what to do about that. And it's okay if we're uncomfortable.
I think that was
that's
the challenge.
Probably a good thing for us.
Stop ignoring,
And so, and if you're really uncomfortable, you've already probably stopped listening. But let's talk about what's coming up for the Life of Lakeview. Because one of those things that we do have upcoming isn't until July. But I think it's one of those things, and it's not really a compassionate thing, but it started with a notice and a request. Like, we noticed that there was this event every December in our town, and we thought we should be part of that to celebrate with our community, and that was Light Up. And then all of a sudden we got a request, hey, would you guys do such a great job with Light Up, how about you do something with our kids zone in the summer events that the city does? And we kind of went, well, that sounds pretty good. We like kids. If we can kind of be part of a family, of a community celebration in that way. And so on July 1st, Canada Day, on the Saturday of West Side Days weekend, we're going to be part of the Kids Zone that the city puts on, and we'd love to invite you, Lakeview, to either A, show up at those events and just have fun with our community, or B, spend some time, a few hours, volunteering in our tent, which will be shaded, right? You can sit in the tent in the shade, and all you got to do is like add a little bubble solution to bubble wands and smile when kids run around and make bubbles, and maybe blow a few bubbles yourself. Have some fun, join in. And so we'd love to invite you to join me with that and be part of that event in our community. But that's not till July. We have other things going on. I think someone noticed that a family had a new baby and then said, hey, let's do a celebration for that because we have a sip and see coming up. Jeff, what's the date on that? Do you know?
I don't.
Oh, the test. It is not this Friday, as in but the following Friday, correct?
Right.
Yes.
It is June the...
It's on June 20th.
Good job, Kevin. That is 100% correct. June 20th, in case that matters. So excited for that. Ladies, come on out. June 20th in the evening. Meet baby James. Awesome. Lots more to talk about.
This Friday?
This
July
Friday,
13th
the 13th.
is, yep, go ahead.
No, it's good. You know what? I love it when we know the events that kind of each of us have taking point on, right?
Right.
Because it helps me know, like, yeah, we are a team. When you guys know what's going on in kids ministry, and when we all know what's going on in women's ministry, and we don't do that one as well. I'm sorry, ladies, you might not feel like we're on your team, but we love you, what you're doing.
We love it.
Even if we have to confirm dates. But yes, June 13th, this Friday is our Friday event for kids. Grade 3 to grade 6. It starts at 6:30, and we've got such a good group of leaders, both adult and youth, coming together for what'll be a fun night, building relationships, having some fun, sharing some laughs, and also not leaving Jesus out of this picture too. We're going to talk about him as well. And so looking forward to that on Friday night. It's a great opportunity, I think, to develop some youth leaders and also build relationships with the kids who will be in youth in the years to come. Picnics in the park are continuing on Sundays.
Yep.
Anything to add to that?
Nope, come on out.
Okay.
If you haven't before, or if you have, you're welcome.
Okay, and Kevin, what else is happening Sunday that we should know about?
This Sunday is Father's Day, so it's the last Sunday for our Baby Bottle Brigade, which supports the Okanagan Valley Pregnancy Care Center. And so make sure you remember to bring your bottles this Sunday. We'll collect them. We'll have a box in the foyer, and you can drop it there. And then you can, we will make sure that they get to the Okanagan Valley Pregnancy Care Center and support that ministry, which we love.
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything else that we
got plenty to think about.
There's plenty to wrestle with too, and we'll just add, like, we'll talk about this. We talk about this most Sundays, but make sure you're getting our Lakeview Life emails, and you can sign up for that through the website, email the church, reach out to any of us. There's links we put up on the cards and the seat backs when you're in a service on Sunday, because often we might forget something, and that email never does, or it might have further details for you. And so it's a really valuable tool of communication, because we love to connect, and we don't want anyone to feel like they didn't have all the information, and we don't want people missing stuff that could be really special to them. So make sure you're getting that. We'd just love to stay connected with you, and on that note, hopefully we'll see you Sunday and connect with you real soon.